only a day away from Friday.
And you're watching CNN Student News. Today we have a special Throwback Thursday to the U.S. amendments.
You're 10 minutes away from getting up to speed on your amendments. Breaking news. A fire forces hundreds of Marines out of their base, and the U.S. military is looking to house them in private homes. Although the U.S. military is looking to house them in private homes, the U.S. government states that there will be no exceptions to the Third Amendment, and those Marines cannot be housed in private homes. Recently, a group has been raising awareness of the harmful effects of alcohol on one's mind, body, and relationships. With every seminar and speech the small Chicago-based group does, they grow larger and larger. The other day, they announced that they would like to reinstall prohibition to illegalize alcohol again. Alcohol was prohibited in 1920 when a group made of mostly women with alcoholic husbands pushed for the 18th Amendment, which prohibited alcohol. After 13 years of bootlegging and illegal alcohol trade, prohibition was repealed by the 21st Amendment. People often say that history repeats itself, so maybe this Chicago group needs to watch our Throwback Thursday episode of CNN Student News to understand the history behind this proposal. Some people may give their cause a lot of booze, but it will take a lot to kill a party that they throw. Don't whine because you don't agree with them. It'll take a lot to get this amendment to pass out.
A story is coming to light that happened 3 months ago when police broke into a Chicago man's home in search of illegal drugs.
In the Bill of Rights, the Fourth Amendment prohibits the unlawful search and seizure of a civilian's home without a warrant or probable cause. The evidence supporting the case was not enough for them to break into the home without the warrants.
Time for your shout-out. Which of these doesn't pertain to voting? A. The 19th Amendment, B. The 6th Amendment, C. The 26th Amendment, or D. The 15th Amendment? The right answer is B. The 6th Amendment. The 6th Amendment gives you the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury. And that's your shout-out. Speaking of voting, here's Lydia Crackel in the field.
Hi, this is Lydia Crackel on the scene of the 2 Hours Community Center, where residents are appalled on the 2016 poll tax implemented here. What do you feel about the poll tax implemented here?
Wait, what's a poll tax?
It's illegal! Seems that the residents here are very upset about the poll tax because it's illegal due to the 24th Amendment.
Is this legit? John Adams served 4 terms as president. Not legit. It was Franklin Delano Roosevelt who was elected to office 4 times. The 22nd Amendment, implemented in 1951, limited the president to 2 terms in office. After World War II, it was a concern that the president would have power indefinitely. Each president following George Washington left office after 2 terms, until FDR was elected 4 times.
Lydia Crackel with CNN Student News again. Hello, President Duck.
Hello.
So I heard that you got kicked out of office.
Did I? Oh God.
Yes, you did. Well, you know why? Because the 25th Amendment says if you can't perform your duties as a president, then you can't be president.
Toast.
Yeah. Thank you for your interview, President Duck.
Get off me!
In the discussion on gay marriage, the constitutional amendments play a role. The 10th Amendment reaffirms federalism, which is the separation of state and the federal government's roles. Now, as you may be aware, many states have already passed laws either banning or legalizing gay marriage. 17 states have made same-sex marriages legal and 33 have banned it. But many people want to pass an overall constitutional amendment on the topic. Also, there's a supremacy clause that states that no state law can defy a federal law. So if a constitutional amendment was made, all the states would have to overturn their laws and go with the federal law. This is still raising the question, though, whose duty is it to decide what the definition of marriage is and who has the right to marry? Does each state reserve the right to decide for themselves? Can the United States federal government rule on this subject over the whole country? We have reporters working on it right now, and we'll do our best to get back to you as fast as we can with an answer.
Recently, a person has come out of solitary confinement after 40 years, and the issue has been brought to light because he can't function in society. People are trying to have solitary confinement considered unconstitutional due to the 8th Amendment outlawing cruel and unusual punishment.
It's time for today's roll call, where we are going to travel around to some of the state capitals. First, we'll depart from St. Paul and head out to Boise, where the potatoes are watching us from South Boise High School. Moving on in today's mashup, we're flying south to Sacramento to see the surfers of South Ridge Christian Academy. Next in our trip, we're headed to Topeka, Kansas, to check in with the wagon wheels of Dorothy Memorial High School. Last, we'll say hello to the Carrots of Jersey Shore High School, who are watching from Trenton, New Jersey. That pretty much wraps up our Throwback Thursday roll call.
All the questions raised in the recent years regarding the Second Amendment are yet again surfacing. The Second Amendment, included in the Bill of Rights, gives Americans the right to bear arms. Now, of course, there are certain weapons the general public are not allowed to possess, like fully automatic weapons. The increase in trafficking of weapons from Mexico and South America into the United States is raising serious concerns about the accessibility of illegal weapons into the hands of criminals.
Let's see if you can ID me. I am an amendment to the U.S. Constitution. I guarantee certain rights regarding court cases. I prevent double jeopardy. I am the Fifth Amendment.
So the month of February is Black History Month. And speaking of Black History Month, the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in 1865.
We are going to review a little bit of the history of African Americans and how the 13th Amendment came about. Slavery has been a part of how our country works nearly since it started.
Especially in the South, on the infamous cotton plantations, many African American slaves made lots of people rich businessmen and farmers.
As people realized the wrongness of this act, things like the Emancipation Proclamation were passed.
Eventually, the Civil War broke out, and after the North won, the 13th Amendment was proposed and ratified.
A Florida woman was arrested last Saturday after allegedly stealing clothing from a Target store. The woman entered the store, took clothing off of a rack, and proceeded into the restroom, where she changed into the clothing and left the store without paying for the items. They proceeded to arrest the woman and to press charges against her. However, the woman is fighting back. She claims that Target broke her right to privacy protected in the 9th Amendment, which protects unspoken rights that are not necessarily listed in the Constitution. Target says they had every right to do so, but it is hitting the courts today.
The last amendment we are going to discuss is the First Amendment that protects the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, and right to petition. It was written because citizens demanded a guarantee of their basic rights and freedoms. Without the First Amendment, religious minorities could be persecuted, the government might well establish a national religion, protesters could be silenced, the press could not criticize government, and citizens could not mobilize for social change. Most countries provide some level of freedom of speech, even if the extent of the freedom varies widely. However, according to Reporters Without Borders, the countries that allow the least amount of free speech and religion are Eritrea, North Korea, Turkmenistan, Burma, Cuba, Vietnam, China, and Iran.
Before we go, let's take a look at our pal, the painting pachyderm from Polynesia.
Some people may say that this sketchy video is irrelevant. Well, that's easy for them to say.
We hoped you liked our Elefancy Throwback Thursday.
I don't want to dolly around any longer, but you can be assured that oil will be back.